Welcome to Film Phreeks. This is Justin Llewellyn.
And Eddie Williams.
And here we are doing an audio review of Cult of Chucky, which is the seventh film in the... Or, I'm sorry, yes, that's right, the seventh film the seventh film in the franchise of the Child's Play series that began with the original 1988 movie of Child's Play, and then has spawned several sequels after. Now, in this film, it takes place after the events of the last film called Curse of Chucky, which came out in 2013, and it stars the girl from that movie.
Obviously, Brad Dourif.
Yeah, Brad Dourif returning as Chucky, and you have the girl from the last film, Nika Pierce, who played by Fiona Dourif, who's actually the granddaughter of Brad Dourif.
Yep.
And in this film, we deal with her having to basically be she's basically pinned on the murders from the last film, and she's being sent to a mental institution.
4 years ago, they said.
Yeah.
4 years. Yep.
Yeah, in this film, we deal with her in a mental institution where she's going through, she's sent to a mental institution where she's basically presented by the doctor to be, tested for, to be tested of whether or not the murders actually happened and whether it was all in her head, basically. And throughout the film...
Well, she first starts in another nut house, but pretty much she kind of is brainwashed and comes to terms to say that she did it and she made Chucky up. So they think they got into her admitting to the murder, so they ship her off to the lower medium security nut house.
Yeah, that's right. And then she becomes part of this group therapy session where she meets other series of characters, including this guy named Malcolm, who's got like this weird multiple personality disorder where every day he'll be a different person, basically.
Yeah,
and
it's like Split.
Yeah, and then you also have like this girl named like Angela, where she's an old woman who believes that she's dead.
Mm-hmm. And then there's this Asian girl.
Yeah, this girl who, that's her name, Claire, who she basically burned her house down. And then you got this other weird girl named Madeline, who's like this disturbed patient who smothered her own son to death. And then, well, basically, to kind of avoid spoilers, the film deals with, there's a doll that's pretty much sent there in the mental institution, and shit starts to happen, and, basically, the film is questioning whether or not the murders are actually happening or if it's all in her head. So it kind of plays similar to like the first film did, where you remember if in the first film it was kind of thinking the audience whether or not the kids actually committed the murders or if it was actually the doll. And so this one actually
and not to really, this isn't really considered spoiler right here. I mean, the name title gives it away. Cult. You don't ever associate the word name cult with just one killer or one person. So you guys saw in the trailers, and this isn't really spoiler, there was a dozen Chucky dolls.
Yeah. And there's also, and what's interesting about this film too is that we also reunite, well, it was from the last movie as well. Spoilers for those of you who haven't seen Curse of Chucky, they actually reunite Alex Vincent and Jennifer Tilly from the previous films. Alex Vincent.
And if you guys don't know who Alex Vincent is, he's the little boy from the original two movies.
Yeah,
the original actor.
The original actor who played Andy Berkeley. Yeah. And then Jennifer Tilly returns as Tiffany from the last two films, or from the last three films actually. And I gotta tell you, I was actually really looking forward to this movie because I've been such a big fan of the Child's Play films that, I mean, besides Seed of Chucky, I've actually enjoyed all of them.
Yeah, I did too. We actually have we did a retro on all 1 through 6 not too long ago, and we'll probably, I'm sure Justin will reshare it and let y'all, kind of get you up to date so you can watch our retro on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been a big fan of Chucky too. I grew up with he's up there with Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers. He's the doll version. He's iconic. And I agree with you on that, man. All of them I've enjoyed. I've really hated 5, though. Even as a satire and try to bring dark comedy, it just didn't work either.
No, and yeah, I had my share of problems with 3, but 5 I felt like was the worst because they overdid the comedy and all that. And with the last one that came out before this one, Curse, it felt like it was a return to form because they were going back to the straight horror that was from the first film. But with this one, what got me interested, what I was kind of thrown off by, was that the Cult of Chucky was actually going back to more of the comedy that was present in the fourth film, Bride of Chucky, which I actually enjoyed with Bride of Chucky. I thought it had a great blend of comedy and horror with it, and so
Yeah, I will tell you right now, I find it to be 1 and 2 is loved by everybody, and I agree. 1 and 2, I love. They're my top 2. But to me, I feel like 4 is underrated.
yeah, it is.
I highly enjoyed part 4, and believe it or not, a lot of people actually have that. I've actually found people say that's worse than Seed. I don't know how.
I don't know either. But with this one, with Cult of Chucky, what also got me interested too was, not only were you bringing back, Brad Dourif as Chucky, but it's also, I was kind of wondering how far they were going to go with like this whole setup with him and Andy Barclay again. Because if you remember at the end of the last film, it's basically set up to where Andy Barclay, it goes off in battles. He has him like in his possession. He's about to kill him. And so with this one, they actually explore beyond that because, and again, this isn't a spoiler because...
Well, Andy was kind of waiting on him. He had a feeling he was coming, and then he came in that little package.
Yeah.
And then that's when Andy was waiting on him and blew his brains out.
Yeah, and so with this one, they actually explore a lot of that. And I got to tell you, like, for this film, even though it's straight to video, I can see why it went to because, like, okay, to kind of get my pros out of the way, I enjoy this film, but I did kind of like Curse a little more. Like, with this film...
Yeah.
To get my pros out of the way, it was great seeing the cast come back. Alex Vincent, Jennifer Tilly, Brad Dourif, of course, and I even like the main girl, Fiona Dourif, Brad Dourif's granddaughter. I thought she was great coming back, and you really the film deals with kind of like a whole psychological level on this time, where throughout the film you're seeing sequences where murders are happening, and it's led to believe that supposedly this is all in her head. Or the murders are actually happening. So I'd say at least for the 2/3 of the film, it actually takes quite an interesting take on the series.
Yeah. I first on my pros. Before I start my pros, it's a shame that this movie got pushed out of yet again, like Curse got pushed out or wasn't getting a theoretical release. And it's a shame that this movie does this because Freddy, Jason, Michael Myers, and all of them, they get like box office day one theoretical releases. Chucky is the only one that comes from the iconic killers that does not get theater release movies.
Yeah, well, I mean,
that kind of pisses me off. But then again, at the same time, I can see why too, because if you look how these movies are shot, which is really funny, because 5 and 6, the cinematography has really got this blue, white, dark tint, and it looks like like ice clear. But everything else, it screams low budget.
Well, yeah, I would say more with this one, with Cult, it looks more low budget than the last one, because I will say that at least Curse had kind of a theatrical look. This one looked more like it was more direct to video.
Yeah, true. And like, all right, with my pros, Adam Vincent, I liked all the cast. Well, I like the main. I liked. Obviously Andy coming back, and then I like the cool little post-credit scene. I'm not going to say who, but you got to watch the post-credit scene to see who that person is. I was glad that person came. Always going to love Brad Dourif as Chucky. And then Fiona, I was glad she was back as, the girl. But, I mean, the other ones were pretty much hit and miss because some of them just seem... This is a low-budget film, so... You can't really expect Leonardo DiCaprio type acting.
Well, yeah, I knew that going into it.
Yeah, I mean, so some of their acting is really cheap.
Yeah.
But it's still shot really. It's shot just like Curse, though. I mean, not like the editing as it comes together. I'm talking about like the visual, the cinematography. Kind of resembles Curse.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell this is...
With that whole ice clear, it looks like a blue tint
is
over it. Like a black-blue tint. I ended up liking the visuals on that. So that's another pro. I got into the cult thing But I'll get into more of my cons on it. It's an interesting change, and we don't want to see your same old slasher, the same story, and I get that. Traditional way, it's just, I don't know. The cult thing, we'll go into more detail here in a second on that. I like it. It's like a love-hate thing. I like it, but then I got problems with it.
Okay, yeah. Well, and going back to the way it's shot, this is also directed by the same guy who directed the last three films, Dan Mancini. He was actually the writer of all the films, so you could tell it was shot pretty much the same as the last one. But yeah, I get what you're saying with the whole cult thing. I thought it was a nice change because I'd say for at least like the first 2/3, like kind of going back to earlier, you are kind of getting the idea that supposedly all the stuff is taking place in her head or something, but but when it comes into play, when you start to see more about it with the cult and everything, I did feel like it was a nice change, but I did have more questions about it. Now, I don't want to spoil anything, but there is questionable things that we'll discuss in our cons about it. But anyway, to get with some of my other pros, I love the gore in this too. I think that because it was great to see. I mean, yes, there are some CGI shots that are kind of not so good looking, but I think for the majority of the film, it looked like they rendered it pretty good with some practicals.
They did, and I think a lot of it's actually practical. I think only a little bit of it is CGI, especially certain parts that needed CGI, like the glass breaking scene.
Yeah.
Where it falls on the girl, and you do need some CGI with stuff like that. But I think the overall killings and the blood and the gore, which I absolutely loved in this, I think it was authentic and it was practical.
Yeah, so I think it was.
I give them a thumbs up on that.
Well, and one thing that also got me really surprised was I actually enjoyed the comedy in this. I think that's, I mean, I'm not talking about just the one-liners from Chucky, but I'm saying like the little one-liners, the little comedy bits here and there that I actually cracked up quite a bit at. Because this one kind of brought me back to the whole comedy level aspect of Bride that I enjoyed.
Yeah, I like some of the comedy thing. I would have loved to see more Andy in this, where him and Chucky could have bantered more.
Yeah.
They kept it very simple to where they didn't interact until kind of the beginning and kind of the end.
Yeah.
So you don't get that. But what they did have, like the part where he had Chucky on that little stool thing at the beginning, he's sitting there talking shit to him.
Yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
Which is funny. Yeah. And then, I get into that. And then Brad Dourif, he's funny as always with Chucky. But I didn't, and I like the serious tone because they're going more serious in this one. Yeah, Chucky isn't really cracking as much jokes anymore.
Well, I mean, he kind of is, but you can tell that it seemed like he was he was more toned down in this than, say, the last few movies because they were kind of going back to more of their roots. But with this one, they kind of upped more of the comical side, at least from the rest of the film.
Yeah, well, I did like, especially when all the Chuckies and all that, I did like that part where he, one Chucky's bashing the other Chucky for having short hair.
Yeah, but what I also enjoyed, too, was I did also enjoy a lot of I mean, there's really not much to go into detail with because it's really, kind of straightforward. I was appreciated that they kind of expanded some things a little more with the whole cult thing because it was interesting how they kind of put a spin on it. But now this is kind of where we get to pretty much some of my cons. While I enjoyed, like you were saying, with the whole cult thing, I had more questions about it because I'm not going to go into detail, but it really feels kind of like, your question, like, it seems like it was something that he could have done in the other films too, this entire time.
That's what I'm saying. That's what my cons was it makes you question. This movie, as much as it is it's a Chucky movie, it's fun. It's just, that cult thing, I get the change, like you said. It's just, that does leave a lot of answers why he didn't ever use it as how he discovered something. When it just, I don't know, call me different, call me old school. I just wish they would have kept the traditional story still, with just him and the doll. And not only that, this one also was one of my cons. Out of all the times, all the Chucky movies that were made, he was aiming to get inside of an adult body or a human body.
Yeah.
To live and so he can be a human again. This one actually gets rid of that altogether because he's been living in people, and it's like he doesn't even care about doing the dole dem balo anymore to get in somebody. He really doesn't care. He doesn't want to do it anymore. He wants to be a killer doll.
Yeah, which I guess at this point he's learned to accept that because he's wasted all that time trying to do it. So he's like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna stay in this body forever."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He says, "Fuck," he's had a battle getting it done, and now it comes easy for him.
Yeah, but
so it just makes me like kind of question. It kind of makes me kind of feel like it kind of ruined his whole motive from day one of him becoming a doll. So I thought that was like another con. And another con I did have, this one gets me kind of like questioning and stuff. He wanted to kill the daughter and Andy in the original one. Okay, explain to me why he didn't even fucking care. He doesn't even want to hurt both of them anymore in this one.
Yeah, that's what I was always wondering about.
I was like,
Well, another con.
Oh, and then another con, Chucky. If he can make cults of Chuckies, why did he not think about killing Andy a long time ago?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Why he was captured.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I felt like there are certain things that they kind of took with the direction in this that they could have mainly. It seems to compromise with the rest of the films. Now, I get what the change they wanted to go with. It's just that, yeah, you kind of look like they could have done this entire time, you know?
Yeah.
But also,
just like you, so like with Andy, where he has, at the beginning, he's pretty much got Chucky like captured, and then like he could have used doing the cult thing, and they could have like over the years keep ambushing, showing us that Chucky used like a bunch of dolls to try to get into Andy's place, but Andy was so good at taking them all out. They don't explain why Chucky even thought about getting free from him by using a bunch of cults.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's like...
Well, and also, not just that, but at least another con I have. Now, this is only, like, there are a few shots, at least throughout the film, that, even though I didn't think it was terrible, I did kind of feel like some of the CGI they used on Chucky doesn't really look quite as well as I thought it would, like at least compared from the last film. I felt like they did feel like they kind of made it more cheaper looking with the CGI in this one than the last film.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Now,
the CGI looks like a low budget.
Yeah, now some shots are kind of cool when he's walking around and stuff, but some of the close-up shots they use when it shows his face, when he's talking, it does kind of look, kind of very low budgety, like very, very cheap looking.
I don't know if it's just me, but I think that if they went back to the whole gritty practicals and make the visuals more grittier looking than ice clear Blu-ray looking HD, I think that will probably help them make the Chucky movies look better.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. But
because the high def, the ice clear, beautiful visuals is cool and all, but when you look at it in such a beautiful like cinematography, you can tell that Chucky looks so fucking fake.
Yeah, but
and moves weird. It's just it works better when the movie's all gritty looking.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But overall, though, I would say that I liked the movie of Cult of Chucky, but I did feel like it was a step down from the last film. It's not terrible, but I just feel like it could have been a lot better than what they were doing. But with the little things, but with the other things that we mentioned earlier about, I still enjoyed it for as a fun slasher film and everything. But I'm hoping that when they do another one, that they'll kind of go back to that. To how Curse did with the whole approach they were going for.
That's another thing I am a little worried about. Is the entire thing where I feel like this cult thing opened up a whole new world, which is interesting, and there's so much unexplained that it feels like this could actually alone maybe spawn 3 more movies. My only issue is Brad Dourif not ever coming back again.
That's my only worry, yeah, because without him as Chucky, I really don't know who could. There's no way you could replace him. I don't think.
I don't understand. Like, all right, let's just say that I'm sure the writers or somebody sat with Brad Dourif and said, "Hey, is this your final film? If it is, I thought they could have made an authentic look from the first one and could have ended it. I get the whole new change up and you're adding cool cameos and you're making it out this where Chucky could be like $50 or whatever. It's just that opens up a whole. You get what I'm saying? It opens up another world of what they can do with it.
Yeah, I got you.
And Brad Dourif is the only guy who can play Chucky.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I am not going to see a fucking goddamn fat motherfucker or some visual or different voice, kind of like when we seen that fat motherfucker play Hellraiser.
Yeah, where he looked like he ate a whole bunch of McDonald's and he was from the clumps.
And then he had a goddamn midget.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am not going to deal with that. And then the Chucky movies end up getting horrible worse. My luck, they'd get a high-pitched voice and it wouldn't even sound right.
Yeah. But overall, though, I would say that, you know, I would say that from the last film, because I think the last film I gave probably I can't remember my grade. It might have been a 7 or a 7 point, maybe a 7 out of 10. I think with this one, I'm gonna go probably like a 6 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna go pretty much a point under you. I'm gonna go 5 out of 10. I enjoyed it. It's not like on my shit list. I enjoyed it. It's just I wasn't strongly on the cult thing. But it still was cool seeing Chucky back in the Killings and seeing Andy. I really wanted to see more Andy.
Yeah.
I was really interested in seeing that. And I get that they even pushed him back. And I don't get well, now that would be a spoiler. So I'll let y'all see the movie to talk about that. But yeah, it's just, it's doable, I guess. It's not like horrible. It's doable. So it's 5 out of 10 for me.
Fair enough. Well, for those of you who have also seen Cult of Chucky, let us know in the comments of what you thought about it as well. And if you like what you see here, you can feel free to like and subscribe to our channel. And you can also check out some of our other reviews here, and also get a chance to listen to our retrospective we did of the Child's Play films as well. That's available on our website and on SoundCloud and on YouTube. And we'll see, and feel free to also like and subscribe, and we'll be seeing you guys in our next review. We'll see you later.
Later.